All right, welcome to Doozer Shop. Kind of a progress update, maybe. Let me just grab the camera handheld and let me show you where I'm at with a couple of my projects. Okay. Don't remember exactly where I left off, but you probably saw this. This is the table for the Covell. And I got 3 coats of paint on it, and it's just kind of sitting here waiting. Let's see. This is a cover for the Covell, for the belt drive for the work head, and some other parts I got cleaned up and whatever. That's some kind of belt guard. That's the wheel guard. And it's like a weldment that bolts to the grinder head, and this is a casting that is the cover. And look at, they used nickel rod and they filled in some imperfections with this thing, right? On the back side there's even where that was all the way through, where there's one in there. Kind of neat. I spent hours cleaning this stuff. That thing I detailed all around the welds and the tabs with the Dremel and the little wire brush, brushy brush. That's the actual 5C nose on the workhead. And I've previously taken this apart and cleaned it, da-dee-da-da. Here's the pivoting table that goes on the main table. Busy last night working on the Pratt & Whitney lathe, cutting some internal threads for the Hendy project, the Hendy tailstock project. So if you guys remember, I had cut some threads on the butt end of this, Hendy tailstock. Originally, it had an internal threaded situation happening and no threads on the outside. And the internal threads on the butt end of this were basically, like on the Colchester tailstock. The chrome thing is just the bearing end of the feed screw, and it threads in to there. It was the same thing that was, on the Hendy tailstock. But I wanted to make it longer with a barrel. So I got the barrel. I ordered that piece off eBay. And last night, I cut the threads in it, right? So that's 2 3/8, 12 threads per inch. So let me grab it. And the fit is just jam up nice, okay? It's really awesome. One-handed threading. There it is. So that's what potentially it's going to look like. I might even keep it the same length. The spindle, or the quill I guess you'd call it, that goes in there, I've got 2 of these, but that was the mandrel for turning the threads in the mighty Colchester 17, right? So I straightened both the bars. I think that one's a little straighter. I got to cut a keyway in there, and it's probably going to bend, and I'm probably going to have to straighten it one more time. But that's what it's going to look like, and the hand crank will be out there. It's about twice as long as it was. So the deal is, I don't know where the original tailstock is. I think this is about 10 inches, and that's what the tailstock quill was. And if it comes out 5 inches, I think it comes out either 4 or 5 inches. Let's say it comes out 5 inches, then you've only got 5 inches left in the actual tailstock casting for bearing area. So what my thought is to make this as long as possible, and still put the Morse tape or 2 in the end. And let's say this is 10 inches. I don't know. It's about 10 inches. And that's 20 inches or something. So if that's 10 inches and that's just a little bit more than 10 inches, and the actual quill is going to be 20 inches, that means you can extend that forward 10 inches. It'll extend out the front 10 inches and still have 10 inches of surface bearing contact and 100% in the bearing of the tailstock. So it'll be a super rigid tailstock quill or ram or whatever you want to call it. And the fit is just money tight. It's just within a couple tenths. It's actually too tight right now. But that's what's going to go on the Hendy. And that's going to pretty much complete the Hendy with that really cool tailstock. I don't know if I should leave it as long as it is. I think that's about a 10 inch or maybe it's a 12 inch extension. So I was thinking about cutting threads, the exact same threads on this side, so I could screw this end on also, make it kind of a mirror image, because I'm going to need something to screw in for the butt plug, which is that. So I could either make a threaded plug, or I could just have it go in and put, you know, 1/4 20 screw heads in 3 or 4 places, and that way just sockets in up against the shoulder, and I put, you know, 3 or 4 headed 1/4 inch screws in there. That'd be easier. It's probably all I need. I don't know. But oh, the grinder, the Covell, it had plastic screwdriver handles of all things, right? They had this like stupid like screwdriver handles on the cranks. So that was terrible. So I got these ball crank type design, and I made them spin. So there's quite a bit that goes into there. That's a 1/4 inch heavy hex nut turned with a shoulder on it. So this is a 1/4 inch, really long Allen headed bolt. And there's a bronze, no, I think that's just yellow brass step bushing, I guess you'd call it, a yellow brass spacer. And there's actually a piece of stainless steel tubing as a sleeve inside. A little bit of end play, but I think that's okay. And then the same with this one. This hand wheel had it wasn't just a straight through 3/8 hole. It was a 3/8 hole with a countersink on the front side. So this brass piece has actually got a conical protrusion that fits into a 82-degree countersink. And the same kind of thing. It's a 1/4 inch heavy hex nut with a shoulder turned so it sockets into the 3/8 bore in the hand wheel. So that works. Let me show you this hand wheel. It goes, no. So in is for manual table movement. Out, see how that exposed? There's a switch in there for the hydraulic feed, enabling the hydraulic feed. So the pinion disappears, right? There's the pinion. When you pop it back, watch the pinion. Pinion comes out, right? So that's manual feed. You pull it back, right? Automatic feed. And like I said, there's a cover and a switch and da-da-da-da, right? So, and the reason I took this all apart because there's a bronze bushing in there, and this whole thing was wiggling sideways like a crazy amount. The length of the bushing, the bronze bushing, was only like 5/8 of an inch. And the bore was 1.5 inches. So I put an 1.5 inch long bushing back in here. Like they, I think it was replaced, and that's probably, you know, a workaround that they didn't have the long bushing, or, but that's all fixed. That's not going to wear out now. That's a good setup. So this is all back on, and this moves it. It actually moves coming forward very slowly, right? And then this is for, you push this down. It didn't have this green thing on. You push this down and it rotates the dial. It releases the dial, right? It's a piece of green anodized aluminum, something or other. So I figured out, so this is a 0 set. So that actually allows the 0 to come up, right? And then you can do this one-handed. If you release that, you can rotate it and the dial stays at 0, right? You can set your 0 that way. So that's how that works. And this is 2/10. You push that, right? Yeah, I think it's 2/10 to advance it. So that's done. This belt guard on the back with the 3 screws is done, clean, put back on. The cover is actually done, cleaned, and put back on. I did that yesterday. Gotta clean that. The parts table is getting smaller. The actual, well, the vise doesn't go on there, but nuts and screws and bolts and some more parts, and there's more parts. That muffler is not from it, but in my little collection of tools, it's coming together. So anyhow, I gotta clean up the lathe and do a whole bunch of other fun stuff. But I just thought I'd give you that update of this mammoth guy. Leave me some comments. Should I thread that and for the butt end plug, or should I use just some radial screws on the plug? I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to thread it in. That means, so I swung the tailstock and cut the tailstock threads on the Colchester, and then last night I cut the internal threads on the tube on the mighty Pratt & Whitney 12C. So anyways, all right, enough for now. Just a quick update. Until next time, this is Doozer Shop.